Put my mic back on. Megan Thee Stallion. Sweetie. Oh, hold on, fellas. Megan Good, Paris and Prince Jackson, and the hottest influencers and models and socialites. Y'all need to show some love for Whitney Stacks! Billingsley is one of the fashion industry's most coveted up-and-coming celebrity stylists, known for his chic, discerning, and immaculate eye. Billingsley began his creative direction career as a freelance stylist with the Elektra production group prior to becoming the in-house creative director for Motown Records. He has worked broad range of influential artists, actors, and image makers, including Jhené Aiko, Tamar Braxton, Toni Braxton, Nico Anand, Kelly Rowland, Tisha Campbell, Tank, Christina Milian, Faith Heman, and Chica, to name a few. Y'all show some love for icon Billingsley. I gotta get somewhere I can stand up, because I be worried about my... Where you at, icon? Hey, y'all can show more love than that. Let's go. Is it Stacks? Winning! The next panelist began their career as a background extra in movie Dreamgirls, later getting his footing in entertainment as a wardrobe stylist for photo shoots like King Magazine and music videos. His resume is extensive. He styles some of your favorite artists like Teyana Taylor, and I love me some Teyana Taylor. Megan Thee Stallion again, somebody gotta introduce me to her. Chris Brown, Ashanti, and more. Y'all show some love for E.J. King. Yeah. Oh, you gonna do your dance. I thought you was gonna do your dance. Snoop Dogg. Hey. You know what happened with the D.R.E. I gotta sit down for this next one. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a legend in the building. Earlier tonight, a young lady said I look like him. She thought I was him. So I'm about to get some of your leftovers out here. You can't have a conversation about fashion without mentioning this person. Universally deemed as the godfather of urban fashion, his style and influence extends far beyond the States, but rather reaches the masses on an international scale. His clothing has been worn by all the elites of hip-hop, including the late great Tupac, Biggie Smalls, Nas, Jay-Z, Nipsey Hussle, De La Soul, DMX, A Tribe Called Quest, and so many more. His mama named him Carl Williams. He fell in love with hip-hop during the Sugar Hill Gang. Some of y'all wasn't born. Some of y'all was Rapper's Delight. And he's been bridging the gap between fashion and music ever since. Check this out. As we say in my hood, this ain't no normal nigga. So I need y'all to act different. Y'all know how to act different? Ladies and gentlemen, sexy women and men. Some of y'all came in sexy. I see you, DJ Damage, you know what I'm saying? Me too, shout out to myself. I need y'all to show some love for the one, the only, Karl Kani. Let's go! Musicology! Another legendary moment.
Don't think chicks think pink gators. My Detroit players. Tim's for my hooligans in Brooklyn. That's it.
Yeah. Right there, wherever you want, sir.
Come on.
All right. I guess he could be my uncle. You know what I'm saying? He could be my uncle. Where's she at? She over there with the green on. Hey, we got one over there, Mr. Kani. We got one over there. Ladies and gentlemen. One. The queen, who has been putting this together for quite some time now. She came through looking like a chocolate drop. Looking like a Reese's peanut butter melted on your dashboard. My sister, my friend,
Sure.
the CEO and founder of the one and only Musicology. Y'all show some love for Brittany Rustin.
She know I'm nasty. Yeah. She like when I pull it out and I put it all over her ass cheeks.
Testing, testing.
All right, we here. Woo!
Testing,
How
testing,
y'all
testing.
doing? How y'all doing? Man, beautiful black people in the building today. Hey, Queen. All right. We're gonna jump right into it. Let's get into it. Yo, we're here. A lot of people, some people know you guys, some people don't. So, who are you? How did you get here? Let's start. Oh my God, I don't know who to start with. I mean, whoever wants to. Winnie, let's go with Winnie. Winnie, what's your story?
All right. Well, what's poppin'? It's BT Awards. Y'all in the building tonight, or what's up? Y'all ready for some fashion talk? Okay, well, just to let you guys know, my name is Winnie Stacks. I'm a blessed and God-fearing stylist and producer and philanthropist in Hollywood, California. And I just kind of started with just dressing people throughout elementary. It just went to high school, went to college, and then I was like, let me take this to, a serious level. And I was like, I got the blessing and the opportunity to work with Erykah Badu, with Dapper Africa, the late Dapper Africa. He was an amazing, just fashion, just icon in my book. His art was so next level, and I was so blessed to be able to intern with him, and that kind of catapulted into doing my own work, not interning anymore or assisting, and just kind of believing in myself, and just pitching to clients and pitching to celebrities like, hey, I got a look, let's shoot it. And they were like, let's do it. And once you get your foot in that door with that client and you show your work ethic and you kill that look, it just goes to the next client, and then you get to keep that client, and you get to keep working with different clients because you're kicking down that door, just really just putting your foot in the door and just kicking it down, and staying prayed up, and just believing in your craft and believing in your looks. Do never second guess yourself, and that's really kind of where I got to now. I never second guess myself. I was like, if I like it, they're gonna like it. If I don't like it, they're not gonna like it. So I just kept it real with myself, and I made sure that I understood my client. I made sure I understood what they were asking for, and I made sure that I put the look that I wanted on them. And that's how I made it here. Thank you so much.
I'm not playing with you. EJ, since you want to be dramatic with the fan.
For those who do not know me, I am EJ King. I am a stylist and I am a creative director. I am a designer now, and TV personality and actor and all that good things. And so I will not reveal how old I am, but I am old, and I started, let me tell y'all, so this is a funny story. I started in this business at 17. I moved to LA. The first celebrity that I met and worked with was Tori Hart. So I met
Tori Hart.
So let me tell y'all. So this is really what my message is about. So I met Tori, and I got to I was doing Tori's hair. I wasn't even doing clothes. I did hair. I hated it. I did Tori's first weave. Sewed it in. It was trash. I ain't gonna hold y'all. It was trash. But through Tori, through many people that I met in this business, I people ask me, was it hard getting in this business? Is it hard sustaining in this business? And for me, I tell them it's all your relationships. And Tori is one to show is I've been knowing Tori over since I was 17. I'm old now. I've been in this business for 15 years. And so I'm still as close with Tori today that I was when I first met her when I was 17. And so that's what LA and this business is very, very, very small. It's a very small business. And as big as entertainment is, it's a very small circle of people. And so all you have in this business is your name. The name that you give, the name that you start with, the name that people know you by, that's all you have. So if you wear that name out, and if you treat people bad, the person that you thought coming up was nothing will be something when you need them. And so that's all I have. You know, that's it. I've worked with a lot of amazing people, and to this day, I'm still friends with them. I worked with Chris Brown. I was with Chris for over 7 years. I worked with Megan. I worked with Puff. I worked with Danny Kane, Day 26. I worked with a lot of amazing people. Tiana, that's my sister. Tiana's my sister. So, but through all of that, I realized that as long as you remain yourself, as long as you remain humble throughout success, that's the only thing that matters. I don't have an agent, or I didn't have an agent. I didn't have nothing. I just had somebody saying, hey, EJ's a stylist, try him out. And that's what it was. And so that's how I built my business. That's how I built my brands. And I've been the same way. Day one. Tori, have I changed? Have I changed?
Hey.
Have I? That's it. It's family. You know what I'm saying?
No, listen.
That's it.
Co-sign.
That's a quick background. Good to meet y'all. Thank y'all for coming. I hope y'all take away some knowledge and some insights. And shit, we're gonna pass it on down to.
Before we move on, I just gotta say, EJ is one of the most humble and people, and I'm not even one of his close friends, but you had this same number for like 8 years because I had this number from when I met you at a Chris Brown bowling party. And he's consistent and just a genuine person. So I just want to thank you for being you and never changing, never switching up. Clap it up for EJ. What's up, Icon?
Yeah. Wait, I gotta tell y'all one more thing. I was with Eva Pickford, and we went to a hosting. We went to a college where a young designer was showing his clothes, and he was like, "I'm gonna move to LA, and he's like, I'm gonna do big things." And we literally met on a booking, and that person was Icon. And when I looked up, I'm gonna let Icon tell y'all his story, but I looked up and Icon was in LA and he was doing this shit, and he went from school to here. He gonna tell y'all the story. So hey, there you go.
Wow, I can't believe you remember that. What's up, guys? My name is Icon. Well, my name is Casey Icon Billingsley. Icon is a nickname that I got in college. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, and I'm a Southern bred. I'm just here to talk about faith and perseverance, because that's why I'm here. Y'all asked why I was here, how I got here. I got here by faith and perseverance. I was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama, by my grandma. She was my first client. She taught me everything I know. My grandma was a G because, if anybody from the South, I was raised in the church, they don't wear the same thing twice. So my grandma had me on the block every weekend figuring her look out. And that's how I started to learn about textures and textiles and fabrics and all that kind of stuff. Like, my grandma really let me dream as a kid, I come from such a traditional place. Birmingham is such a Southern traditional city. And if, you're not into law or sports or anything like that, it's kind of like, what the fuck you doing? You know what I'm saying? But my grandma, she got Vogue for me, Ebony, Jet, all those things she allowed me to read. So I started dreaming then, and then graduated high school, came to Atlanta, started the fashion shit at Clark Atlanta University. And this is where I met EJ and Eva, and you know, I started to spread my wings and dream a little bit more. And then I took a leap of faith, moved to New York, $300 to my name, ended up living there for 3 years, couch to couch for a while, train to train for a while, but again, faith and perseverance, figured it out. While doing that, I met the president of Universal Music Publishing Group at the time. As a client, started dressing her. We did that for a couple of years, and then she became the president of Motown Records, which she then hired me as the in-house creative director. So through those things, I was able to go into relationships, meet different people, you know what I'm saying? And to this day, like EJ, I've remained friends, and I've remained in good, you know, standing with all the people I've worked with, including a lot of current acts today. He said I'm early, I don't have to say I'm no more. But yeah, I'm really here to preach the message of faith and perseverance, and really, really sticking to your guns, and really, really utilizing God even after He's blessed you. So that's my platform, that's my scene.
Last but certainly not least, Carl Kanai. Clap it up for Carl Kanai. Yo,
But-
listen.
Can I say something
Please.
before this legend talks?
Hold on, I ain't even a legend. He's an icon.
Before this icon talks,
Please.
I have to say something. This is a blessing to have this man here.
Facts.
I grew up wearing this man's clothes.
Facts.
You feel me? I looked at him as a black royalty fashion designer as I was growing up in my own fashion world. And he's here right now in front of all of us, about to give us some of his knowledge, who has dressed people that aren't even here anymore, that are icons in rap. You feel me? So please respect him. Please do not talk while he is talking, because I respect him so much, and I'm blessed to even be sitting next to this man that's named Carl Kanai. You feel me? And I just appreciate you. You are black fashion royalty.
Facts.
I had to just say it, because I
And
still can't
humble.
believe, like,
Look.
you know me. I just appreciate you for even still killing it to this day, still dropping collections, still killing it, and I appreciate you. And I just had to let you know that I had to get that off my heart. I appreciate you,
Thank
Carl
you. I
Kanai.
appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Come on.
The floor is yours.
All right, here we go. So, my name is Carl Kanai. I'm going to spread my story a little bit and share a little bit of knowledge tonight. So, you know, Carl Kanai started in the streets of Brooklyn, New York in 1989. You know, I wanted to change the way the world looked at each and every one of us in regards to fashion. You know, my family was born in Costa Rica. We came to Brooklyn, New York when I was 3 years old. So my dad used to get his clothes made by a tailor. So when I was growing up, I used to watch him go to Delancey Street and buy his fabric and buy his clothing, get his clothes made by a tailor in Flatbush. So I kind of saw the process, how you can make clothing. When we moved to the projects, when I was about 10 years old, all the kids were making fun of my clothing, saying like, your clothes ain't hot, this and that. So I decided to start making some clothes with my dad's tailor. And when I made the clothes, everybody's like, yo, that's dope, where'd you get it from? So I ain't gonna tell nobody my secret. So I started selling clothing to a lot of kids in the project. And one day this dude was walking by, had one of my outfits on, and I was bragging to these girls saying, yo, I made the outfit for him. I'm taking you guys back to like 1987, 88, something like that. So like, the girl made a comment, so she told the guy to come over there, and the guy's like, what's up? She's like, who made that outfit for you? He's like, Carl made it, what's up? She's like, well, if he made it, how come his name ain't on it then? And that's when it, so like, after that, I started thinking of like, I need to think of a brand name, and can I was a question I used to ask myself all the time, like, can I do this? Can I come from the projects of Brooklyn and really build a brand? So I wanted to be like Tommy Hilfiger, Ralph Lauren, Calvin Klein. Those are the brands that I grew up wearing. So Kanai kind of stuck with me, and I figured if I still call myself Kanai, every day I have to answer that question, yes, I can. So like in 1989, we took a flight to LA. We opened a store on Crenshaw Boulevard, 4312 Crenshaw, down the block from Nipsey Hussle store. And then like everything started happening from there. In 92, we hooked up with Cross Colors, and it was like game on.
can you reverse and talk about the can I, because I think that went over people's head. Carl, can I? Like,
Yeah, for
please.
sure. So like, after the girl made that comment to me about like saying you didn't make those clothes with your name ain't on it, then I went home that night and I started thinking about a name that I wanted to call my brand. So the brands we grew up wearing at the time was like Tommy Hilfiger, Ralph Lauren, Calvin Klein, Donna Karan, Sergio Tacchini. Those are the brands that I knew. So I was like, I want to be like them. So I was like, Carl Williams jeans just didn't really have a really ring to it. You know what I'm saying? Didn't really fit in, right? So I used to sit in my home at my house in the dark listening to Phil Collins' song In the Air Tonight over and over and over again, trying to think of a name. So I used to like write the name Can I on a piece of paper, and I had Carl on a piece of paper. Can I was just a question of self-doubt, really, like a question of like asking yourself, can I really do this? Because that's never been done before. Because before me, there was none. There was no other streetwear guy from the streets that actually impacted the fashion world the way that we did. And I didn't even know that's what I was about to do. But then when I came with the name Can I was like, okay, cool. Every day I have to answer that question, yes, I can. It was like a motivational thing to put that name on the clothing and be a black designer that's going to inspire so many people to feel like if he could do it, I could do it. And that's really what the case was with Carl Can I. Like when we used to go to the magic show, it was none of us there. It was only white people at the magic shows, store buyers, buying stuff. So we had to break down those barriers and show people that you come from the streets, you can make clothing. And then hip hop came along at the same time when we was doing it. So like we saw MTV, we was like, okay, cool. So guys are wearing clothing on TV. They should be wearing my clothes on TV. So we hooked up with Dr. Dre, Ed Lover. You know, we came out to LA. Then P. Diddy was the first artist who did our first clothing campaign in 1991. And we had Tupac, Nas, Jay-Z, Pete Rock, CL Smooth, Aaliyah wore my stuff on the first album cover. So like, you know, everything was kind of happening because we was right there doing like we was in the energy zone already. So, you know, nothing doesn't happen for you if you're not in the zone and making things happen already. So, you know, making to the top sometimes could be sort of like a lonely road because not everybody gonna get your destiny, and they're not supposed to get that because it's your destiny. You know what I mean? That's why you're here for, is to create your own lane. So that's what we do and create our lane. But hip hop was very supportive to our brand. And hip hop was able for us to be the #1 streetwear brand worldwide today because of the hip hop culture. Because, you know, back in the days, a lot of designers didn't even want hip-hop artists in their clothing, to think about it, right? So they didn't want us in their clothing. They didn't think that hip-hop was going to last, right? So we saw hip-hop as an opportunity with us because we from the streets. Hip-hop needed a fashion designer, and we needed an avenue to promote our clothing. So it was like a marriage made in heaven for us to unite together from day one. 32 years later, we're still growing strong and getting bigger.
Period.
So, you know, like, and also, so the guys on the panel tonight also play a big important role of how people say, like, how do you go from generation to generation, decade to decade being successful? Stylists now has been a proven point. If you want to get to certain artists, you deal with ultimate stylists, put your clothing on artists, things like that. So they played a pivotal role in us being able to attack the new young generation. EJ's dressed Tiana, put Chris Brown in my clothing. You know, we hung out in Europe, you know, the PLT collaboration, everything like that. So like all these people play an important role in elevating your brand to the next level.
He said Carl went to the archive in his, because the thing is, Carl has everything that everybody has worn, so he has it archived. So to see the picture of Pac in it, and to see the picture of like Biggie in it or Aaliyah in it, and then he actually has the pieces to then lend. Like, it's really Carl. Carl's very humble. He's very soft-spoken. He's a genuine person. And the way Carl just gave me, and this is my first time meeting Carl. I was like, yo, Tiana want this. Like, Carl laid it out, and that's what we shot the video with her for Gonna Love Me for her and Mos Def. And we shot in New York, and it was so authentic, and I appreciate Carl for what he's done. To hear Carl tell his stories about who he's worked with, like, that's what it's about. So
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, so the reason why we're here today is because music and fashion go hand in hand. And, you know, Carl, you just mentioned like some iconic people like Tupac and Biggie, and, you know, EJ, you mentioned Tiana and Aaliyah and all these people. So I want to, you know, ask you guys, like, when it comes to clothing, what's your favorite era of music and why?
Yeah, for me, it gotta be the '90s because that was like the beginning of everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't all know where hip hop was gonna go. We didn't know where street fashion was gonna go. But you can't stop something that's undeniable, and the force is so real. You can't take hungry people from the streets that got music talent. We're gonna find a way to make it, and I feel like that culture can never be replicated again. That was the beginning of all what's happening today. I remember when we was growing up, like none of our parents, all of our parents were struggling, right? Every single of my friends, no one had a lot. It's not until the hip hop generation came along we able to take care of our parents and do things on a different level, stuff like that. So hip hop has opened up and put us all in the business world. So like it became real, and you see the culture's undeniable.
I love the '90s, but I'm gonna have to go with the Studio 54. Where things were more glamorous, things felt more free, people were more bold, people were more into, effects. I come from an editorial. I live in an editorial space in my head. I initially wanted to be like Andre Leon Talley was my one. He was my inspiration from the jump. So I wanted to work in the magazine and the publication world. So in my mind, I lead with an editorial thought. I always want to push the envelope. I always want to give a moment. I always want to give a shoulder. I always want to give a split. So I would have to give it to Studio 54, the 70s. That was my favorite.
So, the era that really touched my soul and that really kind of got my fashion fuel going was the early 2000s. Now, the early 2000s for me was those Missy Elliott, Hype Williams, like real crazy creative direction. And to let you know a full circle moment, Missy Elliott's one of my clients. You feel me? And I used to run home every time that she dropped a video on 106 in Park. You feel me? When I was in high school, like in the early 2000s, I graduated in 2005, and it was just mind blowing every time I saw her do something, and just that era was so. The Busta Rhymes, like those artists were pushing looks and pushing creative direction and just doing stuff that we never seen before. I mean, Missy's head was coming off of her shoulders in videos. You feel me? Like Get Your Freak On and just like Hot Boy and all those beautiful sets. You don't even see those budgets no more. And I'm very blessed to be able to work with such an icon and be able to have her love my work and things like that. And just telling her, because when she got her star, I was ordained to help her get it together and things like that. And I told her, I was like, I literally grew up just like Carl Kanai here, grew up watching you. I was like, you were an icon in my book of what was next in fashion. I never seen nothing that you did before. It was always something new when she dropped. It was always something that was pushed, and I feel like as an artist, especially with music, you always want to do something that nobody's seen before. You feel me? And that's what I do in my fashion looks. I want to do something that nobody's seen before. So I feel like that 2000s was just a magical time of, just really doing what you've never seen before. Yeah.
2000s was definitely lit.
So I think I misunderstood the question. So anyway,
The question was simple now.
One, two.
well, my era is really the 20s. I really love. Brittany, no, Flapper.
You like Flapper era? Yeah. That's the 20s.
Yeah, 20s, 30s. I like Great Gatsby era. I liked when, yeah. I liked when men dressed up. I liked when men wore suits. I liked how polished it was. I liked how, if y'all know me, I love a belt. So I love, I love a cinched waist. I love the clean moments of what that was. And so, Great Gatsby era, Harlem Nights era, that vibe is unmatched because not only did women dress up, but the men dressed up equally as well. And so that was an era that I wish can come back. And I wish that men today put that type of effort into their look and their appearance and not to be looked at something that's gay or flamboyant or too much. I just think that it's polished and it's clean and it's tapered. It look like you took a bath. So I really do love that era. Yeah.
Wait. Is that your final answer?
That's it. That's it. I'm done. Done.
Okay. No, I think that's great. I'm gonna go with the '90s for sure because the '90s was a shit. Everybody was during that time. Now I want to kind of like highlight. Obviously, it's BET Week, and this is kind of considered like Black Excellence Week with the BET Awards, and we have a panel of esteemed and extinguished Black men up here, and I just want to really kind of like talk about what have been the challenges that you guys have to overcome as Black men, in this area as designers and stylists. Like, what are some of the challenges that you face, and how have you overcome them?
Like when we first started, I think a lot of retailers didn't really believe that our product was gonna sell. They didn't believe in us. It was never been done before. So I feel like proving yourself was always our biggest obstacle at the beginning. And when we finally got our stuff into department stores, it's about the stuff checking out in the stores and the sell-throughs every week and things of that nature. So we was able to overcome that. And I feel like MTV and music played a huge role in fashion for us because the exposure, because this is before Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all social media. The only way to really get your product out there was like putting your stuff into MTV videos and music videos and things like that. So that was a big way for us to get our brand out there. So just believing in yourself and like not letting anybody tell you what you can and can't do, I think was our biggest obstacle. And once we did that, it was like game over from there. And then we was able to inspire many people to come out there and do their same thing too. So together as a group with all the collective brands, we was able to strong up place for the market.
Come on, Carl. Shit. Well, my obstacle was the navigation, was to figure out how to get into it. Once I got in the business, it really just was everyday obstacles. But I don't have one set thing. Now, my biggest obstacle is when you are young, you are very creative and you're very hungry and you can do anything with no money. You'd be amazed what you can do with no money. So I realized with being the person that can make miracles happen on $10, people often wanted to give you $10. And so my obstacle was understanding that sometimes being too nice and too open and too eager to get the job done with limited resources can be a backfire, because then when it's time for you to get the bigger budgets, then they feel like that should go towards somebody else, And so my my biggest obstacle was saying no, because I would be the person, because I was so hungry and so excited to just be in the business and do it. I remember I went on tour for 2 months for $1,500. And I did hair, makeup, and wardrobe. I was pissed off. The hell? But, pissed me off. The passion. And so it wasn't the money, because I never knew what success was. So the money wasn't $1,500 to me was like, shit, we made it. Like what it did is I'm a firm believer in studying. I'm a firm believer in interning. I'm a firm believer in really putting in the work. The best thing somebody could tell me was stop rushing to have a title. Learn the craft, learn the craft, learn the craft. And once you learn the craft, the title will come. So being on the road for $1,500, it taught me how to be on tour. It taught me how to deal with artists. It taught me the field of styling and touring. So I took that as a lesson. I loved it. I learned a lot from it. So now I know what to charge for tours, and now I know what to do for tours. So that's been my biggest obstacle, is sometimes saying no is your biggest reward, because it will fuck you up in the long run if you do not learn to stand on what you believe and your worth. That's my big one.
Let me just add to that, though, because I think also with that being said, you gotta pay your dues, and you have to you gotta put in, you gotta do things, you gotta get to a certain place, and then you'll be able to
Yeah.
have that kind of leverage.
Let me tell
But at what point does that come
y'all,
into play?
listen, whoever want to do glam, everybody in this room that came that want to do fashion, do hair, do makeup, do designing, pay your dues. It does not make a difference if you call yourself a celebrity stylist and don't got no stylist and no celebrity to style. It does, and this generation, it does not benefit anybody if you try to jump ahead and be something that you're not prepared to be. And because this generation has created so many Insta celebrities and Insta famous people, everybody gets it twisted on what the title really means. So have fun with it. Pay your dues with it. All right, that's it. But pay your dues. Stop rushing to be something. Stop rushing to hurry up and have a title, because once you burn your name out and somebody say that you trash, that is it. Because that's it. So respect the people that you work for. Don't be shady. Let me tell you something. I've never in my
Please don't be
career
shady.
undermined or cut anybody from anything I've ever was doing. Do not be shady. I'm telling you, you will burn yourself out before you even get started. Respect the people that you're working for, understand the position that you're working for, and pay your dues. That's it.
That's why he stay with a job.
Dang. Well, to kind of piggyback off of EJ and Brittany, one of my hurdles has been access. When you get into this thing, we all want the looks. We all want the high-end pieces. Every artist, every celebrity wants, the look. They want the brand. And us being black people and black creatives and black stylists, there's literally only 2 or 3 that get the access. You know what I'm saying? So where I went to school at, our motto was find a way or make one. And I've always had that in the back of my head. So what I've had to do in my career is literally find a way or make one. If I request X, Y, and Z from Dior, if I request from Versace and, they think the talent ain't big enough or dope enough to wear they shit, I got to figure it out. So with that, you literally have to use your tools and your creativity. That's how you know who's real or not. When niggas have on shit that you like, damn, that's fire. You know what I'm saying? That's dope. Like, who's that by? Like, that's where the creativity kicks in, because lack of access. And as black people, we really, really have to prove ourselves out here just to get a fourth look from a show. So I've really found my groove in that. A lot of times I love to stick with my young black emerging designers and people who are like fresh off the dome. I'd rather do that than to put on something that's, super viral or somebody else is probably going to end up wearing anyway. So I'm always saying to my people who ask me, questions about that, like access and really, really utilizing your own creativity to flex, because at the end of the day, that's what really counts.
Man, oh my gosh, I love all you guys' answers. That was so good. Mine's is kind of a physical attribute that I had to kind of get over the hump. I started off in retail in Houston, Texas. I worked 2 jobs. I worked at Sunglass Hut and I worked at Lucky Brand Jeans. I hated it. I didn't like going to work, but I was like #1 in sales. And I literally worked myself to the bone. And one day I was sitting at a bus stop in Houston, Texas, and I passed out. And I woke up in a hospital. And next thing you know, everything stopped in my life. And I was life flighted back to Sacramento, to the Bay Area, to be with family. And my life stopped. Fashion stopped. Retail, that really isn't fashion for me. But it was my first extent into it. And, I don't know if everybody knows my life journey, but I was diagnosed with cancer, about going on 11 years ago, and it was really the beginning of what's next in my life. And I'm so blessed to tell you guys that I was able to literally sit down and just really figure out what is next that I'm going to do while you're facing death. It's like, when you have time to think, you definitely have time to think when you're going through chemotherapy. But I'm so blessed to have an amazing set of parents that loved on me. I had a beautiful church that loved on me at the time, and I overcame it. I am, like I said, I'm 11 years cancer free. Thank you so much. It's hard to talk about because that shit was scary, and I'm a big believer in fuck cancer, and it took a toll on me. I was like, okay, once I get through this, because I never let it be a part of my soul. I just was like, this is something I'm going through, and I'm going to get through it. I'm going to keep pushing. So once I, got that ding from the doctor that I'm good, I hightailed it straight to LA. I was like, I'm going to put every bit of my passion into my art. And I said, I will never work for anybody again. I'm going to do it on my own, and I'm going to become an entrepreneur. I was like, I have a second chance to live. Let's get it. You feel me? I was like, it's Winnie Stacks in the building. I am coming to LA, and I'm turning it up. I'm blessed. I'm highly favored, and I feel like God gave me a second chance on life. And that's why I put my all into my brand. I put my all into my clients. I put my all into my looks. And my team is amazing. You feel me? Callie's in the building. My security. I love you all because we kill it together. You feel me? Like I said, it took a lot in me to say I'm never working again, to smell the roses. You feel me? It took a life-threatening experience for me to really enjoy life and appreciate my clients and contacts and people that I meet, like you beautiful Safari in the front, and I'm just so blessed that to be able to just sit in front of all you black royalty in the crowd and tell you a little bit about how I even got to sit in front of y'all. So like I said, if you have anything you can overcome with prayer and hard work, I'm telling y'all, like I'm a testimony. And that's it. I'm just blessed. That's it.
Listen, we all blessed. We all, check. No, spirituality is a big part of everything that we do, and I'm sure everybody has a testimony up here. So let's bring it back, like we in church. On the last note, everybody give their testimony as to, what has transpired in your life to bring you to this place. I feel like, Winnie, you just gave yours. Carl, what's your testimony?
For me, I grew up in the church. My mother had me in Baptist church all day Sunday. I went to Catholic school from 1st grade to 8th grade, and I was part of the 5% of the Nation of Islam in the projects. So I had like a multicultural religion history throughout the days. But one thing I found, though, is that faith gets you through everything. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that we was able to grow up amongst so many good people and be able to have been blessed by God, it really inspired me to go out there. We had no fear when we came to LA. Like we knew what our destiny was. We had a goal to achieve. And one thing I'll tell you about growing up in the streets of Brooklyn, like we had no fear. Like making it and failure was never an option to us. Like we never even thought like that. We knew that we had an accomplishing a goal. We was gonna go out there and make it happen. I'll share a little small story with you. Before we came to LA, we didn't know how to make jeans. We didn't know where to get the denim from. We didn't know none of that. But what we knew where the Guess Factory was, right? So we just sit out in front of the Guess Factory every day, all day, until we found someone that could tell us where to get the denim made at. And finally, we found this one connect. We was like, trabajo máquina, mucho dinero. And they was like, what are you talking about? So like, you got a sewing machine, want to pay us some money? He was like, yeah, we from Brooklyn, we trying to make some jeans. So a guy named Warren hooked up with us. His wife is a pattern maker. He showed us where to get the jeans from. So like, one thing kind of led to another. So we didn't go to school for fashion. We didn't go to none of that. We just went to the school of the streets. We just took the streets, the knowledge from the streets, and just applied that to business. And that's really what the success code for all of us from day one. So failure is never an option. We don't take no for an answer. Whatever we want, we get. And that's just the way things work in the world of Kanai.
My testimony is that I've learned that what I speak, I've always gotten, you know? And I learned very early that timing and patience um, and understanding will take you a long way. And I would pray for things, and I wouldn't get them in the time that I thought that I deserved them. But then I realized that everything that I've ever said, that it has always come to pass. And so, like he said, I started in Dreamgirls. I used to live, if anybody's from California, I was born in Orange County, but I was raised in Riverside and Moreno Valley. the other valley. You know. All right. Goddamn IE get nuts. So
Wait
I
a
was
second.
raised there.
What you doing, Dreamgirls?
So I used to work at this place, and we made pacemakers, and so for 13 hours a day, I was sitting in this all white room, and with this all white outfit on, and my hands would be in this glass box, and we would put heart stents in pacemakers, 13 hours a day. So we would come back and forth to LA because even though this is California, if you don't live or was born in LA, this was still a fun place to come to. So I would come to LA and we'll do extra work. And the girl on set was like, hey, we need you to do a driving scene in Dreamgirls. I was like, all right. So I did a driving scene and I met Jennifer Hudson. And Jennifer she didn't win. She didn't win. So she was on set and she was super humble. And I remember Beyonce was on set and she had Tiny as her bodyguard. And I was the biggest Destiny's Child fan in history. So Beyonce came on set and I remember telling Jennifer Hudson, like, one day you're gonna have a bodyguard too. And she gonna say, she was like, little old me? No, I would never. And a year later, I met Sharon, I met Jennifer. A year later, I got a call from King Magazine. They was like, hey, we need you to shoot Sharon Leo for the cover. And then I met Jennifer at a Gnarls Barkley party. So to come full circle as an extra to thinking that I would never ever be around these people in a million years, I then worked with them a year later. And then so from there, I remember when I got done working with Chris and I said, shit, I want to work with a girl. I want her to be young. I want her to be popping. Everything I ever could have said I wanted in my next client. Tiana called me and was like, hey, EJ, so we're about to shoot this video for Megan Thee Stallion, and we need you to do the video shoot, because it was with Juicy J. So then the owner of Pretty Little Thing had called me and was like, hey, we booked Megan for the weekend. And then at Tiger's party, I seen Megan. And so I've always believed that things that are destined happen for reasons, and it's not a struggle to maintain them or to obtain them. So when I looked at Megan, my manager was like, damn, you really got who you wanted. I got somebody young, I got somebody fun. We worked crazy, it was great. And so I stopped to realize that I'm the only person in my family in this business. I'm the only person in my family that has seen this type of success. And so it literally went from just believing, and I got up at 17, I moved to LA, and I told my mom when I left, I said, I'm never coming back home. Not that I was not, I'm never coming back. And it wasn't that home wasn't home. It's just I told myself I was never going back to the cycle that we were in River Valley, you know? And so now I look up at my mom and everybody calls me EJ, and I've become this person, and a lot of what this business was taught me confidence as a person, because everybody sees this grand person, but like all of us, I struggle with weight, I struggle with identity, I struggle with so much, and this business has really helped shape who I was and who I am and who I've become. And so I love it. I love my pace. I love where I'm at, and that's what it's all about. Just really taking the time and going with your story and your struggle. So yeah, that's my testimony. Stick to it. You can do it. So yes, that's me.
So I'll never forget. I was living in Atlanta. I had left school and I started managing a clothing boutique with my best friend Fred, who's here. And I had hit a glass ceiling. You know, I had got to a space where I was like, I gotta get out of here. Like, I have to figure out what I can do next. So I'll never forget, I had just moved into an apartment. I had nothing really but clothes and an air mattress. And I was just at my wit's end. So, just as clear as I'm talking to you guys, one night I was at home and I like cried out to God. I was like, God, you really, really got to show yourself to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to show yourself to me. And I grew up I come from a religious background, so I've seen so many things. You know, my mom praying for people, my grandma praying for people, all that kind of stuff. But I just kind of used to sit around and spectate. But in that very moment, I felt like I had really put myself in a position to test God. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had said prayers and stuff like that before, but it was always in my head. Like, I had never physically, like, prayed to God using my mouth. And in that moment, I did. And I felt crazy, but, you know, something about it felt right. So as I spoke to him, as, you know, just as loud as I could hear the people in the back, he said to me, swallow your pride. You know what I'm saying? It literally was like, I don't know what it was, but pride came to mind. And I don't know where that word came from, but pride came to mind. I'm like, So I opened my computer that I had at the time, and Twitter was on my homepage. And this was like 2000, I want to say, what, Fred, 2007? 2007. And I literally, on a whim, I just tweeted and was like, I need $500 to make my dream come true. I just wanted a ticket to New York to go. I tweeted it, it posted, I walked away from my computer not thinking that anybody would see it, interact with it or anything. Came back, I had over $500 sent to me that night. No, I didn't ask you for the money. Then my phone rings, and it's a client. Mind you, this is like midnight. My phone rings, it's a client from the boutique that I'm in. And she was like, man, I just woke up out of my sleep, and God had you on my heart. Is everything okay with you? And I'm like, yeah, I'm cool. She was like, don't lie to me. I was like, man, no, I'm not cool. I'm ready to go. Like, I need to leave Atlanta. I need to get to New York. Like, I'm just at my wit's end. And she was like, baby, I believe. And she was an older woman, too. She was like, baby, I believe in you. She hung up the phone, bought my plane ticket. I literally left the next day, left the apartment, left everything, and went to New York. And that started my journey. So this story, like I said from the jump, I'm here to talk about faith and perseverance. Like, that's what I operate from. I'm literally a living testimony of what you speak out of your mouth in faith will come back to you. You know what I'm saying? And it feels corny. It feels crazy when you feel like you're talking to yourself, but something somewhere is listening. And I'm literally a physical depiction of that.
Yes. Never would have made it.
That's funny.
Never could have made
Check.
it without you. I would have lost it all. But now I see how you were there for me, and I can say, never would have made it.
Yes, saints.
Never would have made it. Never would have made it. Never.
Hey. Who feel like shouting right now? Hey. Who ready for the fashion show? Hey. before we get into the next segment of this masterpiece, before we end this panel, I just want to say thank you guys for being here today. First of all, clap it up for everyone who's sitting up here today. They didn't have to be here, but they donated their time, and I'm very appreciative. Hopefully you guys learned something from this. Stick around, don't go nowhere. We got a fashion show coming up with black fashion designers, and then we have a performance from Emmy Seacrest. I know you wanted to add something before we ended it.
So I just have a real quick one before we get out of here on just believing in your work. Stylists, fashion designers. I got a call randomly to do Michael Jackson's Diamond Celebration with Parents and Prince. The PR was like, you can't come, but we're gonna pick up the looks and we're flying them to Vegas. Mind you, no fitting, no nothing. I didn't even get to see them. Mind you, I was hours and hours and hours, mind you, after they picked up, mind you, some black car picked up with security and all this stuff. I was like, okay, that's cool. But I prayed on it before I left, before that car left my site. I was like, this is the look. I know I curated it. I know I killed it. I know this is gonna work. And mind you, at 10 p.m. that night, my tags went crazy. Paris and Prince lit up the carpet in Las Vegas with no fitting, no nothing for Michael Jackson's Diamond Celebration. And that's when I was like, stop second guessing yourself. Your look is the look. Don't second guess yourself, because that's what's gonna be your downfall in this industry. I always make sure that I don't second guess myself. And shit, that was one of my biggest, I was crying. I was like, you feel me? And then kind of catapulted into the next thing. I was invited to Michael Jackson's Halloween party, what they do every year, you know, and I was able to go. And next thing you know, when I met Paris and Prince, they were like, oh my God, you killed those looks. Everybody loved it. The family loved it, you know, and it was just a full circle moment because I knew that was the look. So as you stylists, as you designers, believe in your work, believe in the look, and push it. That's all I got to say. Thank you so much.
All right, guys, on that note, thank you guys. Clap it up for our panelists one time.